Okay. Hello. Very annoyed right now because I'm meeting with my supervisor and I tried to show my troubleshooting issue that I've been having for months, and it's hard when you're meeting with somebody for half an hour on like remotely because it's so confusing to try to explain like what's going on here, and he didn't know either. It's just kind of a complex thing that's like I feel like you have to really look at it and everything like that, and just like, it's not a simple thing, and it's definitely not easy in like 15 minutes in a video call. So, yeah, we're back to square one. He told me to take a good look at it, use my intuition, and meet with him next week. And he told me certain things that might help, running more iterations, things like that. Sometimes I feel so like I'm like, why am I doing this? And I feel really dumb because I'm just like I'm taking up this person's time. I think I've never felt like such an amateur, actually, which is funny because I got like a good way through, like I'm a good way through this project, but I just have never felt like such an amateur right now because I was like, I don't know how to speak about this technically. I don't know how to technically describe to you the issue occurring right now. I feel like I'm struggling for language, and it just makes me feel a little bit irritated. And so sometimes I feel like it just feels like it's like this crazy thing that I just decided to do, and then I roped in this person that's like an actual busy human being that has like a job and a life and stuff. So I feel kind of like a little bit stupid. I don't know, but um I think what I decided to do when I had issues with my other model and I was like, where did the hallucinations go? I went back to my old model and I basically like I went through every single line until I found like, okay, what was different? And that ended up working for me. I think this one is just hard because it just for some reason it just feels more complex, and that's scaring me. But what I think I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to print. I work better on printed paper than I do on a screen. It's everything is hard on a screen, to be honest. It's really hard to just look at a screen and be like, yeah. So I think what I'm actually going to try to do is print, like, I'm going to make a document with this and I'm going to print it out and I'm going to look through. I'm going to print out, like, for example, I'm writing in my planner. I'm going to print out the code, like, just the actual full thing. Everything just feels like it's getting messy and cluttered too. I feel like my Jupyter lab experiments are getting cluttered. There's like, I don't know, it's just a mess in there. I need to fix everything. Code, I'm going to print that out. I'm going to print out my what? I'm going to print out the metrics that are getting like printed out right now. I'm going to print out like the graph that I got that seemed so good and so clean, but for some reason it's not it's not appearing the same way in the other one, and I'm just going to take a good hard look at everything because it's just not good. The only thing that's good is that he didn't agree with Claude's advice that I should add more neurons. So that actually makes me feel better because I didn't want to do that. That was like a no-no for me. Because I didn't then I'd have to throw like do the whole other experiment. So I think I'm gonna try to print them out and go literally with a highlighter and like circle things and stuff. I was gonna say that sometimes I feel dumb doing this. I hate working with Claude. I feel stupid. I feel like, why am I doing this random project? However, I had to remind myself, I was like, I'm doing this for a very good reason. Like I think I forget that and I'm like, why am I like I'm like, what if I'm producing AI slop? But I'm like, you know what? This was a good reason to try to do this. Was trying to figure out how dissociative amnesia works and everything is like, that's good, you know? So there is good reason to do this project. So it's not like I'm just doing this just because like, I don't know, it would make like it would be cool or something, you know? It's like there's good reasoning behind it. So that makes me feel better because I just feel really annoyed. It's this model is like the thorn in my like thorn in my side. It's really irritating me and it just feels like it shouldn't be this difficult, and I feel stressed out because I'm like I feel like I don't understand enough and I just wish that I did, and all these different things that just really piss me off. So it's really hot too right now. It's like a heat wave. So it's just making everything worse and just amplifying like my irritation and stuff like that. And I feel happy that I have lots of different things to talk about. I also feel like, what if this is really messy? And I feel like when I explain it, it just feels messy. And I don't know if that's just because I'm nervous a little bit and feel intimidated to share it, but it just feels messy. And I'm like, I have like a lot going on here. I just like, why am I here? But it's like, it's just too late. I just have to finish it and do it. It's just too late, you know? I'm just sitting here. How am I going to figure out the plasticity rules? There's like a lot coming up over the surface. You know, I don't know. We'll figure it out. So I'm going to try to print this out. This just, I'm just having a moment of doubt. I would say just a moment of doubt. Hello again. It's about a week later. I feel like I have this thing, and this project has been such a good way to work through pretty much every single one of my productivity issues with like awareness and everything. But when I start to get to the end of something, I always start to feel, I don't know. I don't know, it's like I lose my momentum. I feel like when I get like when I'm close to the end for some reason, you would think I'd be more motivated, but I'm always like, okay, I suck, I can't do this, like, or just like it's not gonna happen. I think I just start to get I don't know, I'm like pre worried that I'm gonna fail. I think especially right now it's a month and a half to the end of this paper and it's just taken a lot longer than previously expected and everything. And I've just been hitting some bumps near the end with like my experiments. So I haven't I used to make these like every day and now it's like a week will pass and I just haven't even touched my project, which is so dumb because I'm so close to done. But it's still been like going though. I had a meeting yesterday with my other supervisor, which was super duper useful. And then I think the day before that, or 2 days before that, I went and I printed my full paper that I have so far, even though it's a rough draft. And that was actually super motivating because I actually love working with my hands. Like I like handwriting. I love when I can print out a text, print out a paper, I feel like I just engage with it more meaningfully. Like sometimes when stuff is online, it just doesn't even really feel real. So I was just not, I think when I printed it, I was like, okay, you are actually getting so much done. Like, this is really cool. Like, I was looking through the sections. I was like, wow, okay, this is like a real thing that I'm doing. And it made me feel happy. And at some point, I want to actually, I'm dying to jump into the writing. I got so much good advice from my supervisor, just like ideas. Like he was my other supervisor who I only met for the first time. I mean, this is his area of expertise, but he was mentioning it from like a different standpoint and asking me all these questions that I didn't know the answer to, which is a great thing. It's good to be like challenged and to feel like, okay, wait, what? But I was just learning so much. It was really interesting. And I learned some things that would be probably interesting to include. We were talking about noradrenaline, for example, and I do touch on noradrenaline and like how noradrenaline and acetylcholine interact. I have like I am to actually have a section on that at some point in the paper, but he was referencing different kind of, I guess, yeah, he was just talking about that from kind of a different perspective, and I was like, you know, I actually think that would probably be good to talk about more. So I want to go into it some more and like read some more. And I'm just dying to do the writing. I've been so ready to write. Like just I want like I feel really inspired to write, but I feel like I can't write. Like I don't feel right writing until I fix my experiment. So I also printed out I printed out the scripts for the actual code. I printed out like I want to make sure it looks right. I printed out my the code for the graph that actually looked appropriate, that I was like, oh, I did it. And then I printed out the metrics for my, no, I printed out the code for my metrics as well. And this one went really wonky. And I don't think that it's wrong, but I'm confused as to why these two were so different. And then also, I just need to figure out why my thing isn't working. Like, why is my model not working? I've been troubleshooting this for a very long time. I actually have tried a lot of different things. Thought maybe it was something with the bias. It could still be, who knows? I tried the weights. I did a lot of asking Claude as well, and Claude wasn't really hitting the mark. Todd was saying I should try to up the amount of neurons, but then when I spoke to my supervisor was like, I don't know why that would be the case. So it's been a little bit hectic. Like I've tried the things that I felt were obvious. Like I have in another video, I took the LOM, which is like it. I'm not going to explain it in the most expert way because I'm not an expert, but basically it like I don't know if I'm mixing it up with the bias right now. I'm learning as I go along, so it's been kind of hard, but it basically makes it like easier or harder for things to like kind of cross the threshold and stuff. Similar to the bias, but different in a way that I've forgotten because I need to refresh. And that didn't do anything. I tried it like I tried every single layer and every single amount, and it just wasn't doing it. So that wasn't the case. I think I'm gonna just like make some more guesses right now of things I could look at. Okay, so there's a thing here that's the proper normalization for sparse patterns. I don't know if it's really showing that clearly, but that seems like suspicious, right? That seems like it could be a place. I need to look it up. Look it up and see, is that right? Is that normal? This bias is the same bias as my other model, and that one works fine. So I don't see any reason why that one shouldn't actually be working. It doesn't make sense for it to be the noisy pattern either. These are the things that I identified last time. The asynchronous update rule is like a potential here. That's where I was changing up the LOM. I put the LOM at like but let me check it again just in case. You know, maybe I can check it again and see like maybe this time around, maybe I missed something about it. We have this line. Oh wait, no, I think that's just the energy. So I don't think that it's kind of hard because now it's on paper. So it's like I'm not seeing them in their boxes. Return negative 0.5 times state at weights at state plus state at bias. I think that's the energy, so that shouldn't really be impacting anything from what I learned. This is the other place that's suspicious, the external input. Centered so off neurons push negative. I think that one is suspicious. I'm just going, my supervisor, the words he used, I think I mentioned already, were just user intuition. So I'm just going by gut feeling of like what looks like it could be wonky. This is just me just being like, just pure vibes. No expertise, just vibes. Which I already did this. I actually already did this once, but obviously I didn't do it well enough. I said these all before. The external input, for some reason, could be it. The recurrent input should not be wrong because this is exactly the same. It's just like simple, exactly the same as my other one. I should have printed, maybe today I'll also print out my densely coded one. When I'm saying all this, like I'm like, oh, I actually feel like I know like quite a bit already. But when I actually speak to people who are like experts, I feel like I don't know anything at all. I feel like I feel so dumb. Like I'm like I don't know how to like communicate things. I think I have a good beginner knowledge so far that is growing. But it's not to the point yet where I can just be like super like easy peasy, just, you know. Those are the places I'm going to try again. Sparsity adjusted threshold as well. I'm going to look up all of these phrases and learn like what do they mean. The issue I'm having is that it's too noisy all the way down to the bottom parts. There's so many more things I should have printed actually. I should have printed like the output. We'll have to write them down on paper. I'm going to go out and run an errand, and then when I come back, I'm going to let this sit. I'm going to let this circulate in my head, and we're going to try to see. I won't go into it. The other thing my supervisor mentioned, just like off chance, is how many iterations. I'm going to sound really stupid right now, and I didn't want to say this because I didn't want to sound dumb. I thought that the iterations happen naturally because sometimes in my other models, they would just automatically have like 10 iterations, and then sometimes they had 2. So I thought that just happened. I didn't know that there's not even a part in my code where I'm changing that. So it means to me that he must be meaning it in a different way than I'm thinking that he's meaning it. But I just didn't want to sound dumb, so I didn't want to ask that question when I was in the meeting. But in my head, I was like, I thought those just occurred. But maybe, oh wait, maybe it's in the max iterations part. Max iterations equals 20. Maybe he meant it there. But I've never hit a point where it's done even 20 iterations. I was getting like 2 at the bottom part. So maybe there's something else to learn, but I was like, yeah, I'm gonna check that. I didn't think about that, but I'm gonna be honest, I was like, I thought that just happened. It just sucks to be this far in to be like, oh, I got so much right and I got so much done, and then this one is just really killing me, and it's just like it, it's so hard for no reason, and I've just been kind of feeling like inadequate right now because I don't really know like where this is coming from, and I've already tried so many different things. Yeah, actually, I have tried so many different things. Like, you know what? When I'm out, I'm gonna print out more stuff. I think just like I'm just gonna do a lot of comparing and printing because my friend is gonna be here in a few days and I just really want to get into writing. I want to get into my results section. That's already making me nervous enough, if we're being honest. It shouldn't make me nervous, actually. It should be easy, but it's like I have a lot going on with this, and I'm having family members in and out for the entire month, so I'm really nervous. Okay, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. Okay, so what I was thinking is that the only difference between one and the other model is that one is obviously sparsely coded and one is not. So I should anchor in on the things that are different because of that. So back to the asynchronous update rule and the proper normalization for sparse patterns. I've been so frustrated recently. I'm gonna like vent before I start. I've been so frustrated recently because it's really dumb because I can actually look back on the last few years and be like, whoa, my life has grown so much and it's so different now and like all this stuff. So obviously, like, I'm doing a pretty good job. There's always like another thing to like stress about. I've been so stressed about money. My cat probably has a freaking UTI, and this is right in the middle of like seven. It's like I've been trying to work on my money mentality. Okay, I've been trying to do my manifestation, whatever. I think I must, of all of the things in my life that I can manifest, I think I must suck the worst at money because I can manifest enough to get by or whatever, but there's always something like upending my money. I know nobody asked for this, nobody cares. Okay, well, actually, nobody asked for any of this, including this video, so it's fine. I'm always like, the universe hates me. The universe doesn't want to give me money. The universe is always messing me up. Just stuff like that because I'm like in the middle of everything for my cat to get a UTI is so annoying. I need a second job. I have like all these trips. It's so annoying right now. I need to tell myself the universe loves me. The universe wants to give me money. I just can't believe it for some reason. Anyways, I thought to look at a different sparsely coded top network. I think vets are one of the top biggest scams. Why is a vet more expensive than a normal like doctor? It's so pricey. I feel like the rules for these look like some kind of like what's the word? Like alchemy or something. I really just want the code. I don't care about the paper right now. I'm getting really irritated. Sparsely connected Hotfield network. I just want to see a normal one, and they keep giving me the paper. Okay, I guess we can still try to get something from this. I want more like publicly available codes of stuff so I can actually look at the actual coding, because you can see the rules, but I'm probably searching something wrong. Like there's probably terminology I could search, make it better. Why? I've had so many things where I'm like, once I'm in this more, assuming I'm gonna go down this route, I have so many learning resources that I think would be good. People need to put more stuff on Kaggle of this. Like, I don't know. I think computational neuroscience is more of like a niche thing, so there's not as many resources sometimes. Let me just search like sparse. I want to see the code. That's what's really irritating me is I don't want to see the papers. I want to see the coding so that I can like compare and see what did people do. Am I doing a modern Hopfield network? I don't even know. This is probably like the most annoyed I felt with myself for doing this project because I'm like I can't find anything and I feel like I can't figure this out. I might have to be the one to figure it out anyways. See, if I knew how to read these like rules better and I knew calculus better, I'd probably already have the answer as well. But unfortunately, you know what? Let's go back. I think the further I've gone along, the worse I felt that I'm using Claude. So I've kind of just been like, oh no, like I shouldn't use it. But it's it's for the greater good right now. I need to learn this. So let's see if I can find, I don't know if this is even like the right thing. I don't know if this is what I'm looking for, but let's open the papers and I'm gonna see if I find what I think would be the rule for this. I want to find the proper normalization for sparse patterns. There's so much going on this month. This year has been like a nightmare, honestly. It's such a nightmare. I don't know what's going on that it's like I can't catch a break for 1 second. I have everybody's coming this month to like back to back. My friend is leaving, and the very next day my family's coming. So it's like back to back visits. Anyways, let me stop talking. The sparsification of Hopfield models is applied to both the energy function and the memory retrieval dynamics, where the latter monotonically decreases the Hopfield energy over time. Let's make me constantly making a notes list. I have the biggest guilt complex with my cat too. I'm constantly convinced I'm like the world's worst cat owner. And I'm so like, oh my God, I'm doing everything wrong. I might be. Then again, my cat is old and she was old when I got her. And I don't know. And I'm like, oh my God, like Shezzy, I don't know. I'm like freaking out about it, but I think she's gonna be okay. I think she's gonna live. So let's look into this. So first of all, the question, is my Hopfield network a modern Hopfield network? Or is it a traditional, I guess, traditional Hopfield network? You know what? I should be putting this in my like because maybe I'm gonna cite this, you know. So we should go back. I have too many things now. Also, this project has gone on for like a year and a half, and I feel like it used to be so organized, and it's just getting a little disorganized now because I've learned so much. I've covered so much like ground, as you can see. So we're gonna actually, this document, it's so organized compared to everything else, but I think I'm gonna put it in here because I think I'm gonna cite this. I'll probably end up citing this. I'm worried that I'm gonna be like a really, really anxious mother. I just can already see it for myself. Like, you know, really neurotic about her kids. I worry. I don't want to be that person. So I need to work on that. Because if my cat has anything to show for it, I'm like, I'm neglecting her. She's living in an abusive home. Meanwhile, I literally spend so much time with her. It's insane. There's so many interesting ones to read. Storage capacity of extremely diluted Hopfield network. What is an extremely diluted Hopfield network? Okay, after much struggle, here it is. I keep worrying. I'm like, because I'm not like a huge like large language model person. I'm not like super. I don't know. I don't think it's like sent by the gods or anything like that. Like some people think that it is, obviously. And then I feel really bad sometimes using AI. And I'm like, what if this is AI slop that I'm creating? But it's like, it's really, if I look at the amount of papers that I'm reading, it's really not. The amount of papers that I've had to read just to get like this done is insane. I have so much to learn that it just hurts my brain. I was saying I went to a meeting with my other supervisor the other day, and it was so interesting. Like, there's so much still to learn about my own like niche. That is pretty crazy. I guess I should introduce Hopfield networks at some point in my paper because if they're writing it this is that's what I'm saying. That it today we're gonna do everything. Today and tomorrow we're just gonna go into everything, and I want this paper significantly changed. I want everything to be very changed by the time I finish. I'm gonna let this be a long video. I'm sure it will be. I should introduce Hopfield networks. I don't know if I should introduce them in the introduction. I'm assuming probably. It's a little confusing actually. I don't really know. Maybe, or do I introduce it in the method section? Well, we'll come back to that. But they should, in Hopfield networks should be introduced, and I should probably talk about them in this context. Like this is how this is how a Hopfield network works. My poor cat. I feel bad. Like, do you see? Like, this is the situation I imagine myself getting into when I'm older. I'm like, I'm such a cold and heartless mother. Look at me working on my career while my child is like sick. Meanwhile, I've done everything I can for her. I already called the vet. but it's like a good mother wouldn't be working on her Hopkio network right now. You see what I'm saying? She would be attending to her cat, but I think my cat will be okay. You know what? This is just making me think I should really be talking like just genuinely giving an overview of like just a little bit more of a sec. I have so much to cover in my introduction section. That's what's throwing me off is we're going from like we're going from like the trauma model and like repression to like noradrenaline to like all this stuff to we're going to so many places that it's actually pretty insane. And I feel like I should definitely actually talk here about like maybe like I don't know like the literature I guess of Hopdo networks, but maybe very very short. I don't know. I don't even know. I've been thinking this is because I was a comparative literature and society student, and you're kind of learning like such a hodgepodge. I feel like this is like a science hodgepodge of different themes that we're going through. We present a sparse Hopfield network that corresponds. Okay, yeah, to combat above, incorporating sparsity. Okay, so that's different. That actually helps it. Is essential and common strategy. While there's a vast body of work on sparsifying attention mechanisms, similar developments for the Hopfield network remain less explored. So I think I'm just genuinely like, there's probably just not as many people talking about this anyways. Sparse Hopfield network that responds to the sparse max attention mechanism, which I don't even know what that is. I don't know which one I have. Mine, I'm guessing mine is probably more of a traditional one just because. Okay, so mine is a classic Hopfield network. I just feel like I'm doing everything so floppish and bad right now. I don't know. Just feel like I might be a flop. That's the like, conclusion I keep coming to. I don't know. I'm talking too much right now. I think I'm just like nervous. Well, I'll keep reading. It might still be interesting. Really not 100% what I need. Has anyone sparsely coded a traditional Hopfield network? Maybe that's my issue. Maybe that's like not a thing. Maybe I'm just doing that and that's not like a thing. You get me? So that might just be like that's on you and you're gonna have to sort this one out because that might not be a thing. Okay, this is really tricky then. It's really tricky. Okay, let's see what they did now. I don't understand any of this. This looks like I never know how to say this word. Hieroglyphics. Hieroglyphics. I forget how to say it every single time. I know what you know what it's like I have it in my head, but oh my gosh. These look crazy. This doesn't even look like anything I've seen. Why did I choose to do this? I don't know what sparse max is as well, so that's another question. Reintroduce the sparse. This is where we get clawed out. Do I try this? Do I want to do this? No, I don't. Imagine it's like if you had done that, you would have gotten the answer, but you didn't. What is sparse max? Let's also learn what sparse max is. Sparse max is the sparsely coded version of soft max. What is soft max? Okay, not relevant to me anyways, but at least not right now. I can't wait to I want to watch these videos. This is like the other reason I've saved these is that I can't wait to watch these when I'm older and be like, you absolute buffoon. I can't believe you couldn't solve that. Or like, how do you not know what softmax is? And I just like I want to judge myself. Like I hope that my future self is judging me so hard and being like, oh, this girl, like, how can she not know how to read these? Like, what's wrong with her? This is so actually, yeah, this is so different from like the normal Hopfield network stuff. These symbols are completely like I've never seen these before. So obviously this isn't as useful as I hoped it would be because I don't have softmax or anything. So okay, that's interesting. I'm just gonna read the conclusion and just move on with my life and not waste my time. I think what we learned here is that I'm just screwed because I don't think that this exists. Like I think I think I just screwed myself over by just doing something. I don't know, like I don't think that a sparsely coded traditional, is that even a thing? Maybe under a name. Let's see. They don't have, this is when I'm like, I just want like a normal one. Like a normal hot field network that's just sparsely coded, and I'm not finding it. That's why I'm like, oh Lord, this project is just too much. It's too much. I don't even know what to search. I don't even know what to find. Oh Lord, this was a mistake. Why isn't that a thing? I might ask Claude that just out of curiosity. Just to know, just to understand. So maybe I'll figure it, like maybe okay, you can stop. You can stop. You can stop. You don't have to tell me this anymore. Stop. Why can't I find a traditional hot field network that is sparsely coded? Is that not a thing? I'm gonna tell him like don't write it for me. Just explain. It's classic. That's the word, classic hot field network. Maybe it's like, I don't know. So that's basically sucks. I'm gonna see what Claude says, but I think that I'm probably gonna have to figure that one out myself. Literally, do you see how nobody can help me? It's like, this is on you now. My supervisor was like, use your intuition. And then I literally am looking it up and like it just doesn't exist. And so I guess I just have to figure it out myself. Okay. So there are three different things people call sparse in this world, and they're easy to mix up. Sparse coding, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, here. Let's go. 1998 is a canonical reference, and the headline result is beautiful. If you make the code sparser and adjust the learning accordingly, storage capacity grows roughly like this in this amount. A standard dense hot field net stores this amount. Okay, so let's find this person. They actually did it in 1998. I was like, the literature doesn't usually say, oh, it just says attractor networks. That's really interesting, actually, that it's not, it wasn't about like the lack of a thing, but basically the lack of my own informational knowledge or like vocabulary. And it lives in the neuroscience side rather than the machine learning side. Okay, so all of this is good information anyways. Let's read the paper. Let's find the paper. I believe this is it. See, I would never have searched it with this terminology. I want to shut up and stop talking. I don't know why I'm being such a chatterbox today and just like, I'm just chatting. So I might just download like a few of these papers. I think I'm going to be okay. Like that made me feel like I'm going to be fine. Let's get this document. And this is such a short paper too. I love a short paper. I love a good little 5-page, 6-page paper. People used to write, okay, this is so interesting to me. People in like 90s, etc., like they used to write these short papers that had like 9 references. And I remember when I first started this paper, I looked up like how many papers would I have to be, because this was when I was like, this was a pipe dream, and I was like, there's no way. I looked up like how many references should I have? How many papers should I read before I went into reading papers? And it said 60. And yeah, when you look at most papers, like let's look at this paper here. I feel like most of the time they are like, they do tend to have so many different papers cited. Like even this is a long list, but these classic papers only ever had, they had such few references. Like I remember reading the place cell original paper, John O'Keefe's paper. He cited like nothing. He had like so few citations. And it's really interesting how I feel like these older papers, a lot of the times they tended to just sort of like build off of like the experiment. Like the experiment just made up such a bulk of what this was about, and it just really spoke for itself. And so people didn't really cite that many sources, and now it's such an expectation that you will cite a lot of sources. So you can see this one was 1987. Let me make sure this is the same one, but it's just pretty interesting to me that I remember reading John O'Keefe's paper and being like, he has like no citations in this. Yeah, this is the one. So we're gonna read this in a second. I'm gonna like shut up. I don't know why I'm talking so much. I might have a coffee though. I think that's gonna make the talking problem worse. I don't know why I'm talking so much. I just finished the paper. I didn't understand everything. When it gets into like the real jargony stuff, I'm just not there yet, if we're being honest. However, I did understand like glimpses of it, and it made me think of my paper. I don't know 100% if I'm right yet, but I have a line that's weights slash equals, and in parentheses, n times a times 1 minus a, and that's supposed to be the proper normalization for sparse patterns. This is a little, this is different, but it's kind of seeming like similar, isn't it? Cross-border store, something a unbiased patterns, and something. No, I don't think it's the same at all. I'm just trying to understand like something here. This project has really taught me to enjoy being out of my depth. Like the other day when I went to talk to that professor, I felt very out of my depth as well. Sometimes because I didn't understand everything that was going on. And I feel like I used to take being out of my depth as like, okay, that's a sign that you're not smart enough or like you shouldn't be here right now. But I had to learn this from scratch. And the way that I even got here in the first place is that I just started reading papers and I didn't understand like a very large portions of a lot of the papers that I read at first, but I just went reading like whatever I understood, I would just like latch onto that and learn that. And then over time, that knowledge built where, okay, well, now I'll understand more in the next paper. And like, it's okay. Like I mentioned this in one of my earliest videos for this little series, but I used to feel like I needed to read everything from beginning to end, like super chronologically. And like, if I didn't get everything, I had to stay there and like keep reading it over and over again, understanding it over and over again until it clicked. But I learned to not do that. I learned to be okay with not understanding like everything. You can see that's how I'm reading this text now. I didn't understand everything. I was like, I think I kind of understand this. So let me get clarification on that. And then I'm not going to understand everything, you know? So I think that actually you learn really fast that way. Oh no. You see, I didn't understand it like I thought I did. Lord, thank you for humbling me, God. Constantly humbling me 24/7. I appreciate it. You know, it keeps you grounded. Okay, so this is really unnecessary. Let's go back to the paper. Okay, so this is talking about how the patterns are made and stored. Okay, so in order to store bias patterns, one must modify the Hopfield form where every component in a learned pattern can be chosen independently with probability. I just want to see. This is what's really bothering me is I just want to see like a like Python script. I just want to see a script of some of this thing written. That's what's really irritating me is that's all that I want. So I can like compare and contrast. And for some reason it's so hard to find that. I'm sure this will be useful later for me, but it's so randomly hard. Like, Lord. That's what I was saying earlier. Do you see? Oh my gosh, that's literally what I was saying. I was like, this doesn't freaking exist. Like, it doesn't exist anywhere. Lord, can people start sharing their freaking scripts so I can see what's happening? It's actually so annoying. It's like there's so many papers, but there's no scripts to look at. So it's like, what? How am I supposed to know what this actually looks like in practice unless I'm a super expert? Oh, this is actually so irritating. Okay, universe. Again, I've been feeling guiltier and guiltier using Claude with all the data centers, with all the everything. It's for medicine or whatever. So I'm gonna go back to you know what? And also this is the other thing is that this is getting so messy. I'm gonna delete this one. This is of no use to me anymore. This I still need. Okay. I think we've gotten it. Okay. I'm gonna run this again. Alright. It's a bit of an anticlimactic ending. It's actually the third time I've had to film this exact thing because my audio keeps cutting out on this one. I don't really understand why. Essentially, I fixed it 2 days ago, and it sucks because the first time that I recorded it, it was actually like probably one of, to me, one of the most exciting moments of my project because it took me so long, and the suspense kept building of like what is this? What is this issue that is happening? I couldn't figure it out, right? So it turned out to be the noisy patterns. First of all, spoiler alert. But let me explain how I figured that out because I actually ended up having to go a whole roundabout way. So first, after doing all that reading to see that there was no code of a sparsely coded Hopfield network, classic network, I decided that I was going to make it myself. I was going to take the acetylcholine out of the model and make one that didn't have acetylcholine in it because I thought that would cut out a few different factors. And the reason that I had never done that, other than just I just didn't think about it, is that at the lowest point of acetylcholine, it should, like at 0 acetylcholine in my model, it should just be operating exactly like that anyways. So I was just like, well, there's no point to that. But I decided there was a point to that, which was just to rule out different factors, potential factors. So I did that, and it was still not working. So obviously that cut out some things, and then I was like taking a closer look. I thought I was getting really irritated. I thought, let me look at, you know what, let me just walk you through it. Okay, I can't reveal the like model yet because that would spoil it. So I took the output of that without the acetylcholine, and I started to take a closer look because what was happening, so the issue was that basically it was getting flooded with one. So you can see that it was making what are called spurious attractors, which like it was sort of doing that. So it was basically just like almost making these things that were a mixture of the different parts of the experiment. Like no, like a mix of the noisy pattern, the stored pattern. So almost like it was mixing up memories. So that was what was happening. And then I took a closer look at the noisy pattern. I never would have expected the noisy pattern to be the situation, like the issue. I started to feel like the noisy pattern looked super suspicious. I was like, this does not look right because usually what the noisy pattern is supposed to be, it's supposed to be the stored pattern with like a little bit of mess. Like just a touch of like of issue, like okay, it's a little bit too noisy, or there's some that are off that aren't off. It's supposed to be a very similar. It's kind of like if you like something jogged your memory, you don't get your memory jogged by random stuff, right? You get your memory jogged by stuff that's similar to what you remember. So that's supposed to be the noisy pattern, what it represents. But I just felt like these looked kind of I mean, there was some overlap, but they looked very, very different to me. And so, but I wasn't 100% sure because like for this one, I could see it being kind of similar, but it just seems much further off than the typical one that I had seen. And I looked at this one too, and I just really felt like it just seemed off. The funny part is that this one did not recover. So this one got flooded. This one actually recovered 100% right, which is pretty interesting because I think it's even more different. Anyway, so I went into Claude, and basically what I did is that I just asked it. I was like, I feel like this doesn't look right. This doesn't look like a right noisy pattern, but I wasn't sure if I was right because first of all, I'm a novice, so who knows? I was like, maybe this is close enough. Like maybe I'm just like imagining things, and there was some overlap, but it was saying that like it was like, oh, you're right, they don't look anything alike, but that's a red herring because it's not that your pattern doesn't resemble, like it's not that the noisy pattern is thrown off, but that it's not matching the. Okay, so I'm going to explain. Basically over here it was picking up the patterns instead of being 1 2 3, they're 0 1 2. So basically this one had picked up like the one from pattern 0, which is pretty interesting. I didn't, okay, so when I first read that from Claude, I didn't realize that that was what it was picking at. I just saw like, no, actually, oh, that's a red herring. It said actually the density is fine, it's well formed. So I was like, okay, it's seeming like it's saying that I got that wrong, but it just still felt really off. So what I ended up deciding to do, and again, I should have thought to do this way before, is to actually compare my model to the one that had already worked fine, which is my pattern separation model. And I put them side by side, and I was like, okay, what's different? And I was like, okay, the asynchronous update rule is fine, like everything's fine. And the thing that was different was I don't have it now, but basically the noisy patterns were different. Like the way that the code was written was different. So I was like, okay, this is still seeming suspicious. I thought, okay, either way, let me just try, even if it's not the thing, I'll just try anything now. So let me try to make the noisy pattern actually look the same as the one that it like as the one that works, just to see if that's the right thing. And then I showed it. I was like, okay, this is the one from the experiment that I just told you. And this is the one from the other experiment that actually works. So they have differences, but can you make it so that it's the same? And then Claude said, I can see the issue. They're actually genuinely different, and the broken one is corrupting twice as much. So I finally got to the root of it, and here I'm not really that hype. I'm just explaining it to you, but it sucks because in the original one, when I first figured this out, I was so hyped up. I was like, this is the dumbest thing that it could have been. Out of everything that it could have been, this is probably the stupidest, to be honest with you, because it could have been a whole lot of things that were like the bias and stuff, like stuff that was really inside of it, but it turned out to be genuinely the stupidest thing that it could be. So that was crazy. And then after I did that, it actually worked perfectly fine. And I double checked that it worked perfectly fine, and it worked perfectly fine. I tried different seeds. So I tried like seed 42, 43, 44. And most of the time, they basically were perfect all the way through. You can see that it's match distort 100%, match distort 100%. And then when you move up, I see like the fragmentation I was looking for. So yeah, that was insane. And that was so hard and took for like it was so hard for nothing. Like it was so hard for something that was such a simple fix. And I was really going insane for genuinely like it's been months now that this one has been driving me insane. And then I thought I fixed it and it wasn't right. So that really took a lot of effort for honestly a really minor and pretty stupid fix. That was really annoying. So yeah, but it works perfectly now and that's really good. So the next thing I'm doing from this point on is just fixing my combo experiment. And yeah, my combo experiment it sounds sounds is basically just both of the experiments put together. I have little things that I'm worried about in terms of like how is that gonna go, but yeah, we're gonna have to play around with it and just see. And this time I will be a lot more attentive to stupid stuff because it usually is something pretty stupid that's messing up my models. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And it just goes to show that humans are still very necessary because I did I started first myself trying to fix like the bias, alarm, the everything. Then I went to Claude for like a long time and I was like, Claude, can you help me troubleshoot this? And Claude would implement these really like big fixes that were very structural fixes that were insane because sometimes AI gets too creative, which is really weird. You would think it would be the opposite, but sometimes it just goes too far. Like I don't know why it decides to do that. And then yeah, so then at the end of the day, it just ended up being me looking because it never I don't remember it ever suggesting me like it was never like, hey, that's corrupted. Like that's 100% off because you would think that I would like that would be an easy fix, an easy catch, but it never caught that or I don't know. So it was just really trying to suggest like these really crazy fixes. So yeah, mystery solved and it was the stupidest potential solution. So yay, all done. And onto the combo experiment next. This was really like an unhyped version, but when I figured it out, I was like, yes. I was like, oh my God, finally, that took me so long. And I was like super hyped up. So it's really disappointing that that one got deleted, but yeah, just imagine I was really hyped up.